All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Vernon Jones, Faith Bridge. We are glad that you are here with us on our weekly education circle conversation. Last week we had a great conversation with some parents uh, around the topic of COVID and talking about what does it mean to be educating our kids during this time and what challenges we are facing with that. So we're glad that we could be here with you during this time. We got some teachers that are going to be with us today. Teachers that are on the front line, teachers that are doing this daily, who are doing it with smiles on their faces and all that good stuff. But we're gonna talk with them. We got teachers from different schools on here. They're gonna introduce themselves. They'll tell you where they're from. We've reached out to um, all models of schools, all districts to get some folks on, and we're just happy that we've got these folks on. We got another group of teachers that's going to come on next week as well because we had such a great response from teachers who want to elevate their voices. So let me just say, my mother just retired as a 30 plus year educator, and my aunt retired 5 years ago as a 35-year educator. So when I say that I love teachers, I have to, or my mama's going to give me a whooping. But we love teachers because that's what we know the great difference that they make. Because I was raised by one, raised by my aunt as well, and they just are amazing. And so this is a safe space for teachers to speak their truth. I told them to come on and just to speak their truth, and we're just gonna have a conversation about what is it like right now. What is it like as we talk about remote learning? We know that there's some schools that are actually in-person learning right now. We know that today in Denver we had some of our EC centers open up again, and those folks are experiencing in-person learning for the first time. And then we also have learning centers. And so yes, so it's great to be here. So I'm going to bring them on, and we'll bring them on, and then let them introduce themselves and all these great things that we got going on. And so great. So I'm going to start with Denise, and then everybody else can jump in. Tell us who you are, how long you've been teaching, where you teach at, and how long it took you to get ready to get on the show. Because I know everybody was trying to, what they got to look their best when they come out with PJs. So, so not after a long day. Look, this is what you get. This is what you get. And uh, great. Denise, go ahead. Tell us who you are, how long you've been teaching, and where you teach at.
Awesome. My name is Denise Thorne, and I'm the middle school director at Compass Academy. This is actually my 10th year in education, so really interesting way to have year 10 going on. I started out as a Spanish teacher and joined Compass about 4 years ago. This is my 5th year with the school. I was in Texas prior to that, but actually started my career in DPS, and actually, I had a baby in May, so I really didn't have any chance to get ready for this. So if you hear a little cry in the background, that's what's going on. My little son's probably waking up from his nap.
Okay, good. Well, we'll be as quiet as possible. We'll be as quiet as possible. Okay. Anybody jump in next? I'm gonna throw down Alex. Man, he's the other brother. He was the brother brave enough to jump on. So, Alex, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you teach at.
Hi, my name's Alex Drummond. I teach entrepreneurship at DSST Green Valley Ranch. It's my 6th year being a Raptor. Just thanks to Vernon for hosting this conversation. I'm excited to be a part of it, and hear everyone's perspective and experiences.
Cool. Thanks, Alex. Denise, thank you too.
Hi, I am Akia Minifield. I, along with Aaron, we work at Strive Prep Montbello. I am the 8th grade science teacher, and this year I'm also an instructional coach. This is my 16th year in education. I started out teaching inner city Atlanta, and then I moved here about 5 years ago and fell in love with Strive, and that's the story ever since.
All right. Thank you. 16th year.
I am Erin Douglas. I work at Strive Prep Montbello. I am a 7th grade ELA teacher. This is my 11th year in education, 9th year teaching. 2 years of 7, got to get your foot in the door. And that's everything from kindergarten to high school. But I have been at Montbello. I've subbed in APS. I worked in APS. I worked in Cherry Creek, and I've worked in Montbello and here at Strive. And I feel better here for the last 5 years at Strive. I love what I do. I'm also the ELA department lead as well.
I thought you were going to stop and say you were the ELA department. I was like, dang, man, she's a department.
Might as well be.
That's real. That's real. They are getting their money's worth, leveraging their brilliance. So that's good. So look, I'm glad that you guys are all here. It is, it's wonderful to see all you guys, and I just, you guys know I applaud you for the work that you do on a daily basis. And so, Akia, 16 years. Okay.
16 years in middle school too. Well, I did teach high school a little bit, but I really enjoyed middle school because I really like the attitudes, believe it or not. They say, oh no, when I first started teaching, they were like, don't teach middle school. No, do anything but middle school. And I was like, no, bring it on. And I love it. I don't know. Maybe because I'm a little sassy.
If you can teach middle school, you can teach anything.
That's it.
16 years of middle school is like 80 years really in teaching. You are a legend. You are a legend. But middle school is great. Now let me ask you this: you've never ever taught in a pandemic, right?
No.
Right. So this is you never had to do remote learning like this, and so tell me what's going on. What's going on with you? First, how are you doing? Right. First, that's what we're concerned about. First, is how are you doing professionally, personally? How are you taking care of yourself? Because we know teachers, we tend to not do that well. So how are you taking care of yourself? And then how is this world different than anything you've ever seen in 16 years?
Wow. It's a lot different, right? Teaching in the pandemic has not actually been so bad for me. I've acclimated to it. And the way I take care of myself and my kiddos in class, we start class every day with mindfulness. So I do a quick check-in. We have a mindfulness moment. And my check-in is so that when they're going through class, I'm able to do like a quick check back if somebody's like feeling down or something like that. So I feel like I've been able to connect with kids a little bit differently, but also I feel like I'm a little closer to some of my kiddos because I'm able to have those quick one-on-ones like during class. But yeah, so while it has definitely been a challenge, and I also have 2 kiddos in 9th grade and 12th grade that are also working. So on my downtime, I'm going upstairs to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, it's happening. It is what it is.
So I'm grateful to see I too have a 9th grader and a 12th grader here at my house. I also have a 2nd grader. Lord help. Yeah, exactly. The 9th grader and the 12th grader, but I'm glad that as a fellow parent, you can understand, that struggle too. I mean, this is what people didn't understand. Teachers are not just teaching, right? You didn't stop being humans. You didn't stop being mom, dad, guardian. You didn't stop doing any of that stuff. Even if your children are fur babies, those dogs have gotten used to you being home, and now they want their attention and all that stuff. So I'm glad you said that, and I love the fact that you begin with mindfulness. I mean, this is the thing that people don't understand about education, is that people who do it well don't tell kids to leave their issues at the door, right? We understand that life happens, right? And we've got to acknowledge that, as we're interacting with kids, they too are feeling this. They too are like, hey, mom, yeah, it's cool to be home in 9th grade and 12th grade up in my room, but I'd really rather be with my friends having a normal high school experience. So I really appreciate you doing that and checking in with kids, because that emotional health for the teacher and the student is critical, right?
Yes. Yep.
What is when you do those mindfulness, have you heard any interesting things? Like in my daughter's 2nd grade class, they do kind of like a little check-in, and one of her peers the teacher after lunch was checking in, and the teacher said, okay, boys and girls, how's everybody feeling? And so everybody's going around, and the little boy goes, can I tell the truth? And the teacher said, yes, we can always tell the truth. And he goes, that sucks. He said, this sucks. Right. And so, I really appreciate the fact that we have created space to even where our kids can be like, yeah, no, I'd rather be, with you guys. This is boring. Right. So, so I really appreciate it. Aaron, how are you doing, and how are you processing this new world?
I'm gonna just go with it is what it is. I'm a very personable person. I like to be with people, so I'm not a fan of this. I don't like doing work from my dining room table, personally, but this is the only thing I have ever wanted to do, was be a teacher. I have this first day of first grade. I don't know what Mrs. Day did, but I came home and said, Mom, I want to be a teacher. So it's always what I've wanted to do. And um, I think for me, what it is I like being able to be with the kids, and even on a Zoom call, it's good to see their faces. And I try to keep that encouragement going, so I continue to see their faces and not their ceilings or their foreheads. Right. So for me, I have my stress more, or my balance that I have is I have a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old. So I have a kindergartner and a 4th grader, and they are in-person learning. They are at St. Pius, and they do in-person learning, and I have to do a health screening every morning with them. I have to fill out a piece of paper to turn into school once a week. Not to mention hair, because I have 2 females with a lot of hair. Manyfield knows, she's seen my kids.
Right.
I keep telling her I'm going to give her the youngest. So it's just, then they come home. Like, I'm still teaching at 3:25, and my husband brings them home, and they come running through the house, and I'm like, I can't be with them at that moment.
Right.
And I would spend days and days with them. Like when we were not in the pandemic, but at school, my schedule was 6:15 at the school till 5:30 in the evening. And I know that's a long day. And some people are like, how could you do that? And I'm like, because I get it all done, because I don't want to bring it home. Because I need the way I take care of myself is I do it there in the building, so I can be home with my kids. And I haven't been able to do that. And it's a little difficult, but again, it is what it is. I'm going to do what I love to do. I will say that if another person tells me I have to do this amount of work and then tell the kids, oh, it's okay, we're going to give you grace, I'm probably going to lose my head. I'm going to blow my top.
Right. Right. Can we get that same extended grace to the adults? Right.
Like, I'm busting my butt to do this work, and the kids don't have to do only part of it. No. I think the expectation should still be high, whether you work at home or in the building.
Right. And I appreciate you acknowledging that too. Like this, our home spaces have become everything, right? Work, social, they become our gyms, they become all of this. And it's like really being able to find a space where you can still stay sane, right? We said with the parent group last week, like being very intentional about learning space. That's what we are in our house. It's like, okay, this is learning space. When you're in that learning space, it's thinking cap on, doing the things that you need to do. Once you come out the learning space, be you, do your thing, right? Have fun, get on your whatever, because we need that, that balance. Because like you said, your dining room table, now all of a sudden, every time you look at it, it looks like work. And, you're just like, man, I don't even want to see that table. Right. I don't want to,
and I can see it every time I come downstairs.
Yeah, you don't want to see that table. You don't want to see that table. I get it. Denise, how are you doing, and how are you adjusting?
Man, I think I just want to start by saying, like, thank you so much to everyone in this space. You're moving mountains right now. There is no playbook for what this is supposed to look like. There's nobody that has the answers to it. There's nobody that could have seen this coming. And, March 17th just like is blazed in my head as like the day where it was like, okay, we're just going to leave and we're not going to come back to school. And how many of us have I think the hardest thing for me is playing over in my head, like, did I hug enough kids goodbye? Did I look them in their eyes enough one more time? And I think that's really been the hardest part about all of this is Compass is founded in belonging and founded in relationships. And so we stand at the top of the stairs every single day as our kids come up and we're scanning them. Do you look fed? Are you tired? Are you hungry? Do you look upset? Are you happy? Can we celebrate something with you? Are you excited? And really trying to figure out ways where, we can build that same kind of relationship and be filled in those same ways. And to be honest, you know, similar to what has been said so far, what filled my bucket in March still fills my bucket now. So if I have to go drop off some birthday treats to a student at their house real quick, just to wave at them from my car with a mask on, then that's what I'm going to do. If I need to get outside to go on a walk, then that's what I need to do, just because these spaces have become so all-encompassing, especially with a new baby in the house. So the struggle is real sometimes. I think it's day by day, but the wins are so powerful. And I think, you know, to speak to expectations, whatever we're setting the bar for right now, students are going to rise to meet that. So if we're going to say, oh, they can't do this, or they won't do that, or they're not going to log on, or they aren't going to be a part of this, then that's exactly what we're setting them up to do themselves. And so I think that's been a huge bit of the win, is we've kind of set an expectation as a campus that we're on live broadcast from 9 to 3:45, and we're going to get kids on, and they're going to join us, and we're going to make it happen, you know. And that's been it's been an incredible win.
Good. Alex, what about you, man?
Yeah, I mean, I feel really like my situation compared to a lot of yours is very easy. I don't have any kids, so I like shout out to all the parents who are doing what they're doing.
Did I just hear you volunteer to babysit? Did you just volunteer to babysit, Alex? No, you.
No, I did not. That must have broke up. I did not say that.
Yeah, I did make up. You froze. Yeah. So how are you doing, man? How are you doing? He said, took a deep breath. We're not going to send you
pretty good. I'm doing, given the circumstances, I'm doing really well. But the circumstances are what the circumstances are, right? And so I'm the kind of teacher, like, I read the room, right? And so, like, if something is off, we talk about that thing. Or like the culture is what makes the magic of learning happen. And not being able to be human to human and to like give a quick look or a chuckle or a laugh on the side, like I've really struggled with that. Like, I love the connection part of that, just walking alongside students. For me, like, the curriculum is a vehicle to come alongside students as they become the best version of themselves. So to not have the normal school setting, I felt a little distance from my why. So if I see somebody's ceiling or somebody's forehead, that is a win. Like, we're not requiring kids to have cameras on, right, for equity reasons. And I understand that. And that's also hard. It's harder to foster connection between students. So I'm doing okay with that. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully we can get in buildings sooner rather than later, but obviously we want to do that safely. And I'm grateful that we've got leadership that's being open about all those processes. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Let me tell you too, I appreciate that. Let me just say that about the cameras on, we learned this as we were talking with the parents a couple weeks ago, that a lot of times, if you have, like us, those of us who have multiple children and you have multiple kids on their laptops, the one who needs the camera the most is the one who gets it on. So if one is doing a presentation, because the Wi-Fi doesn't operate consistently with everybody with the cameras on. We learned that Zoom has that. Google Classroom says the same thing. It's like it causes more data usage, and so sometimes people have their cameras off because they've got 5 kids in the house and dad working from home and mom working from home, and it's like, hey, dad's doing a live Zoom session with teachers, so nobody can be on their cameras right now. So, you know, there's a lot of different reasons, and I love the fact, Alex, that you brought up equity reasons, right? Like, I've seen some horrible stories, like kids literally getting in trouble because they don't have their cameras on, right? And they're there participating, turning their work in, and because of lack of, all of you guys here get it. You're talking about the depth of relationship, how that's important, but there are folks who have shallow relationships with their students, right? And so they don't know what's on the other side of the camera. They don't know what that kid, that family is going through, or what they don't want the rest of the world exposed, you know, to the rest of the world. And so, you know, I really appreciate that, Alex. Really appreciate you anchoring that into equity. And I'm going to ask you guys this question. Your schools have done, hey, little one there, with the beautiful hair. um, your schools have done all of your schools. Now I saw all of your schools learning plans, remote learning plans, read through all of them. I actually stay on top of that. You guys all have great leaders that I get to interact with on a regular basis. I want to know, what are you loving about your remote learning plans? Like, what is something that you're saying, like, you know what, this is the first time we've ever done this, and this is something that I might incorporate when we do come back to in-person learning. And we'll go back the other way. So we'll go Alex, Denise, then Aaron, then Nakia.
So that's a good question. And I love that you're asking, like, how are you going to keep this innovation alive as we go back towards our traditional school model? And so I think for me, we do a lot of business consulting projects. And so we're like blowing the lid off of where we can go. Because I don't have any kids, I'm not married, I have the freedom, I can go travel, and we can maybe do a virtual tour of a business and do consulting projects with businesses that aren't just within, 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour of our school. We can blow that lid off of Colorado. I've got some friends who are entrepreneurs in like Cincinnati, like different parts of the country. So like we can, like the network that we're able to tap into is so broad. And I want to continue to capitalize on that, whether we're, in a four-walled classroom, from 8 to 3:30, or whether we're in a virtual space. I think that's something that we can continue to replicate.
Love that. Love that. My buddy Wisdom, who runs the Empower High School in Aurora, they have a slogan that the world is the classroom. And I believe that. I believe the more we can tap into that, the more we can help kids see their world, learn their world, and anything I can do to help with that, Alex. That's let's blow the lid off of Colorado with exposure to businesses and other opportunities. That sounds fun.
I will trade babysitting for business opportunities. Yeah.
Here we go, bitch. That's great. You guys heard it here first. Denise, what about you? What have you loved about the remote learning? I know Marcia and the team there, you guys have put together a great plan. And look, let me also say kudos to you guys, because you just got recognized for being tops in the district for your support for English language learners, right? And so we shout that out. So Compass Academy, the Lobos in the house, doing great work. On the rise, doing great work. Haters, keep drinking your haterade. And Vernon Jones said that. Nobody from Compass said it. I said it. So y'all drink your haterade.
Is a 24-point MGP game in 1 year. So
you can drop. I'll just drop the virtual mic right now and just say, let them, haters can do. So Denise, what should we be keeping?
Oh man, the first thing that came to mind for me is just this all hands on deck collaboration. Like, we have contents that are collaborating with one another, where science teachers are pushing into math classes. We have our, diverse learner teachers pushing in with our language acquisition teachers, all the way into an English class with our core members. And there's, 5, 6 adults in one space to break out into small groups to support kids. And so I really love what, Alex was saying just around how do we take this out of Colorado, but how do we take this out of like the four walls of a classroom? What is working for us right now? And how do we think really creatively and out of the box about how we can meet students' needs, especially with the technology that we have? Is there going to be times in the future where we might have students remote into different parts of the building just because that's what's going to be best for their need at the time, or remote in from different spaces because they might be across the city doing something else and then need to tune in to their math class? And so I hope that we can take that within the building collaboration, but also that collaboration that we've created with our parents and our community, and really kind of just blow this idea of what traditional thinking and learning looks like out of the water as we head back.
Yes, like that. Aaron, what you gonna keep? Not that dining room table though. We gonna get you a new. You still got you're muted there. There you go. Let me see. Oh, Aaron, you got to unmute yourself because there you go.
No,
I didn't know if you were talking to me.
I said, Kia's laughing at me. Took both. I said, Akia's laughing at me because she knows what's happening in my house because my children are super extra. That's why they're her children. And I just carried them, I guess. I don't know. But the 9-year-old's having an issue because of whatever, and I care less about that.
Right.
It's a TV issue. Who cares? I think one thing that I want to take with me when I go back in the building is the one thing I can honestly say is that I have really strong relationships and really strong connections with my kids and their families. So I want to keep that going and keep it strong. And I have always done the book fair. I brought a book fair to Strive Prep Montbello. They had never had one before. Lord Jesus. They have never had one before. And now we've had one for the last 5 years. And I want to keep doing that. And we just entered our virtual fair, and now I do book clubs. Another thing that I want to do is I appreciate all the educational platforms, like tech platforms that are out there. I'm by no means a tech wizard, but I do like that, making that connection, because we are in a global economy. We're in a global world. So we have to be able to, that kids can know that skill.
Right.
But I want to be able to teach them to unplug when we finally get back in person,
Right.
and teach them, like, guess what, we're here together now, we can unplug. So it's just, there's a lot running through my mind. I remember actually a couple weeks ago, I was on the Reconnect Black Educators Zoom call with your mother and your aunt, and State sent you the text saying you need to get on this call. You're like, I'm here. I was on that call. He's like, when certain people tell you to get on Zoom, you get on the Zoom. I'm like, well, yes.
They run me. They tell me to be somewhere, I'm there.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there. Oh,
let me tell you too. I want to say this. Everybody who's watching, I want them to understand how beautiful it is, how authentic you are, that you are in the middle of doing this with us, and you are still mom, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like people. That's seriously. That is what. Literally had me choked up there, because I love the fact that we're always parents, no matter what we're doing, right? We're always like, and people, I think people who are not seeing what teachers are dealing with need to see authentically what teachers are dealing with, right? Where they're juggling all of these different roles and relationships and responsibilities while they are still delivering high quality remote learning. So I just shout you out for that right there.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, just because I was like, I love her to death.
Yeah, so cool.
But when you were, but I want to say this real quick. When you were on the call, you had a whole list of things that you were wanting to do, a whole bunch of things. You're like, if you're ready to do now, let's go now. And I want to make sure I keep you in the back of my mind to get you in contact with our principal fellow, Mr. Gordon, and everything, because I think you could come do community meetings that we have, Zoom community meetings, obviously now, and just be very innovative with our school. Okay.
Oh, most definitely. Y'all know y'all in my part of town, so we gotta be the best out here. I love Southwest Denver, but I gotta represent.
I grew up in Park Hill. I'm an East Angel personally, so.
Right. Oh, now I gotta hang up on you. You said East Angel, man. No halos on this call, man. Come on now. The Thunderbolt. Akia, what should we keep? See, look. Akia, what should we keep?
You just started something now. For us, we've started like this social emotional like sessions on every Friday. So it's like the kids do a circle. We talk about our emotions. There are like these different lessons that we're doing. So as we're talking about like creating like the whole child, right? I think it's been super important, especially now, that kids are able to like talk about their emotions and like how they're feeling, and to see that like their peers may be going through the same thing, or for their peers to be able to like show them that empathy. Because 8th graders, right, that's kind of difficult for them to do sometimes. They don't want to do that. So like going back into the classroom setting, and now we've created like almost like these families, right? These little families of like kiddos, and then being able to go in and still express like how they feel. This is our first year doing this, and it has been wonderful. So I'm really hopeful that as we move back into the classroom space and the kids start moving like around each other, like that empathy and that compassion that they've had these last couple of weeks when we've been doing this, still continues.
Relationships are essential. That's what I'm loving about one of the things that we're all learning, we've been apart from each other, and there's some people that we were with, we're like, man, I can't stand that person. And now you miss them, right? Now you miss that person because, it's essential. Those relationships are essential. And I know that at the core of a great education, at the core of a great education experience is the depth of relationship between parent and teacher, between student and teacher, between staff members. I'm telling you, I brag about it all the time. My time when I was with Manual High School, working with the staff there, yeah, you know why angels can't fly? Because there's thunderbolts in the sky. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say. I'm
You
sorry.
ain't gonna go there. You ain't gonna go
I
there.
wasn't supposed to say it. I just,
That's
but
why you a thunder thug. See, that's all that is. That's why you a thunder thug.
but that's what worked for me was the essential relationships between school and house and student and teacher and student to student and staff to staff. When you can really nail the relationships in a learning community, the sky's the limit, man. You can blow the lid off of Colorado because you trust Alex to say, hey, Alex is like, look, I'm going to go up to Buena Vista and I'm going to do this lesson from Buena Vista because there's a fish hatchery up there that we just think that kids would love to see that. And we're going to do the lesson live from there. And they're like, okay, go ahead, try it, go for it. Right. But when you build those healthy relationships, you can do, the sky's the limit, right? The sky is the limit. And so now the flip side, the real talk side, this is why everybody's really tuned in. I believe the transformation in an organization happens when we know what we need to stop doing. Like, what has COVID revealed to us that we should never go back to doing that, period, right? And understand this too. Every last one this is that all of the disparities, all of the inequalities and inequities that we see in education did not show up now. They've been here. Right. The things that we've all been fighting against, be you at Stride, be it DSST, be you at Compass, or any Denver Public traditional school, we've been fighting for these inequities, fighting against these inequities for a very long time. Right. And COVID-19 has allowed us to do some innovation, to try different things, to close those inequities, to abolish them, I should say. But what do we need to be learning that we need to just stop? If you could talk to Marsha, you could talk to Chris, you could talk to Bill, and they would listen to whatever you were going to say. And you said, hey, in order for us to be the organization that we need to be, we need to stop doing this. I'm going to play the Jeopardy music, give you some time to think. But what would you say? Like, we need to stop doing this. Just Denise, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah. And I will definitely make the disclaimer that I think that Marsha Fulton is very much in cahoots with me on anything that I say right now, but I would speak to
Denise, let me say
education.
Let me say this. Now that speaks to what we just said. Healthy relationship, right? The depth of relationship that you guys should be able to say, look, as I told y'all in the green room before we got started, y'all say whatever you want to say. I got your back, right? But that's another key thing is that you all are free to say what you need to say because of great relationships that I know you guys all have in your organization. So go ahead. So what should we stop doing?
I have a list, so I'm going to try and be brief. But so one, I think antiquated measures for what makes a great school, like high stakes testing, absolutely has to stop. Discipline practices that are forms of policing need to absolutely 100% stop. The idea that quiet, seated bodies that are looking at you mean that they're learning, that absolutely has to stop. Curriculums that are rooted in white supremacist culture and push white narratives that are tone deaf to everything that's going on in our country right now absolutely has to stop.
Denise, hold on a second, because everybody's like, she about to take all of them.
Yeah, and I
think her list is great, right? I think she can continue because we're just like, keep going. Yeah.
So Denise, let me be real with you. Now you I'm assuming that you identify as a white teacher.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't want to make that assumption. See, that we have to ask, right, and make sure folks identify that. So when, as a white teacher, you say we need to challenge white supremacy.
Yeah.
What's that mean? There's some people, man, would be like, "Who is she?" She's.
Wow.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, Denise? What does that mean in your context at Compass? What does that mean to the educational ecosystem when you say we need to challenge white supremacy?
Yeah, I think one of the entry points that comes to mind for me straight out the gate with this is how are you starting with yourself first? I think one of the biggest issues that I see with folks wanting to take on challenging white supremacy culture within their school buildings is think about the student that you struggle with, or take a look at your curriculum. But I really think that as white educators within spaces with students of color, we really need to be looking at ourselves first, and not just ourselves inside the school building or on the Zoom call with students, but ourselves as consumers, ourselves as people who move throughout our communities. Are we proximate to the students that we're teaching and caring for, and really seeing in ways that shows up, so that we're not just entering that consciousness or that space when we go inside the building. And then from there, it's looking at discipline practices that are not supporting asset-based mindsets. If we're looking at our curriculum, we're taking a look at the way that we talk with one another, how we view our relationships with parents, top to bottom with that. But I really think it begins and really can become deeply rooted in powerful movement when we start with ourselves as human beings first.
Real, that's me. That's a home run right there with me, because revolution begins within. Right? It can't happen anywhere else if it doesn't happen in you. If you still don't believe in black and brown kids, I don't care what the school does. You still the teacher in front of them who doesn't believe in black and brown kids, right? You've got to change, right?
Library at home believe in authors of color? Does your bank account in spending and supporting small businesses? Does your music collection? Does your all of that? And I think it has to start there for sure.
Most definitely. If you can't tell me one Michael Jackson song, we can't be friends. Akia, tell me what are you gonna tell Chris needs to stop?
Oh, I'm not trying to be biased. I don't know. Our network is amazing, and the things that we do, right? See, Aaron can totally agree. I was sitting here thinking and thinking and thinking. And the one thing I could think about is for some of us, maybe new teachers, but thinking that our kids can't. So we need to be able to push our kiddos. Our kiddos need to know that we have the faith and we believe in them, and we believe I believe that you can do this. I believe that you can figure this out. And your critical thinking skills are amazing, and boosting that, as opposed to saying, oh, okay, well, let me accommodate this down to a fourth grade level. No, let me try to build you from where you are and get you where you need to be. So I think that's been super important for me, because once my kids that I'm teaching and I keep giving that encouragement, and that light bulb comes on, it's a totally different kiddo, right? And the confidence is there, their work ethic is better. So just pushing the kids to know that we believe in them. Right, it's for me.
Let me ask you this: when you look at your network as a larger organization, where and beyond the classroom, right, beyond the school building, what are some things that need to change, right? Y'all, I know y'all good, and I know. Look, Aaron said she'll take that one.
I'll take that
Aaron,
one.
go ahead.
It's kind of tie into something that Miss Thorne had said. Yes, we need to have culturally responsive pedagogy. We need to have more culturally responsive books, not just a whole bunch of books by white folks and they're springing the narrative. Now, just to clear it up, I identify as a Black woman of multi races, but I'm Black. I'm just really, really light. You just got to get past my color. But one thing I don't want us to do is just go and get an author because of their color. You know what I'm saying? There's tons of amazing authors out there, and I love them all, but I don't want us to pick a book just because the author's last name happens to be of Latino origins, or just because it might be African American. It also needs to connect with our kids today. And something I love The Outsiders. The Outsiders ain't nothing but a whole bunch of white folks, you got from the different side of the tracks. But my kids today will connect with that quicker than some of the books I'm teaching them. And so it has nothing to do with, it crosses the racial divide. That book is a wonderful book, and I'm still salty that we don't teach it anymore. Anywho, but the other thing that I would say that our network needs to work on, and we are working on it. We do have an ideas council, which is inclusion, diversity, equity, accountability, and support. And we all teachers from across the network get there, and we make sure that we are bringing diversity, equity, inclusion into our buildings, and we do focus classes once a month throughout the year type thing, sometimes more. So I think that's a good thing that they are doing, but I think they need to stop sugarcoating what this work entails.
Right.
I'm like, you're going to come in this building and this is what you're going to do. And in reality, it comes in, they told them they're going to do this, and they end up doing this, and they're not
Right.
giving all of it. You need to be more, we're getting better with transparency. I also think a lot of that is stop treating, we're a network. Yes, but we have schools in the far Northeast. We have schools in the Southwest. Sorry,
Southwest, yeah.
Southwest. We're within Denver. You've got two very different communities there, culturally diverse community
Right.
at that. And I think they need to stop trying to make us do all the same thing, because we cannot be all one mold. And I think sometimes as a network, we're going to do this, but what might work for those kids over on Federal is not going to work for my kids in Montbello, or my kids over there off of Tower and GVR. So they think they need to keep that more in mind.
Good. I appreciate that. Alex, what you going to tell Bill? I can call him real quick too if you need me to get him on.
Yeah, let's dial him in right now. I think that the whole seat time thing as a way of earning credit has got to go, and I don't think we're anywhere close to getting to that. I think in our asynchronous stuff that we had back in the spring, we saw a lot of kids who really struggle to get work done in a school setting, like took care of business.
Yeah.
And I think if figuring out ways to activate those kids, and if you have a self-paced thing, I don't want to claim to have the solution of what that looks like. I think that's one thing that I think we have. I don't know how long this is going to go on, but we can continue to look at that as a way of what does that look like for students to earn credit at the high school level. I know at the higher education level, stuff like badging and post-secondary is starting to happen. I'm wondering and people they self-guide themselves through a lot of modules. I wonder if that's something that we could adopt. And another thing that I think has the potential to really unlock more kids in education is the teacher planning model. We spend so much time planning, and really it's just it's a poor distribution of effort. And if we have I know that in our building we have some incredible, I used to teach math, incredible master teachers. And I was a pretty good math teacher, but not on the level of these people. Their planning is off the charts, but I could execute a lesson, right? I can set a culture in a classroom. I can motivate kids, but my planning wasn't as good as them. And so I wonder if there's opportunities in the virtual space for us to continue to have master planners plan centralized curriculum where teachers are making minor adaptations. There's I know in South Korea, that's more of what their model is. And so I've seen some opportunities for that in the virtual space. I know Bill an idea that I had that Bill has implemented is we have some senior level electives that are being taught across the network. I don't think the fidelity of those are what we would want to put under the DSST name yet. Or where we've historically been instructionally, but I think that's a thing. In addition to all the things that Denise and Aaron and everybody else stole. So
right, and I think that's huge. Everything you said there, Alex, is great, and I love the fact that even in this conversation, I've heard you guys talk about the value of teachers collaborating, teachers coming together and working like they maybe never have before. That's education, man. Education is a community effort, right? That's what we have to get back to. I believe is that we got to do more collaboration across house to house, neighborhood to neighborhood, from district school to charter school. I just think there's so much brilliance when we come together. One of the things that I love, I sit on the board of an innovation zone, and I love the fact that one of the goals is we need to increase collaboration across the schools within the zone. We need to make sure that, these teachers do not feel like they're in this silo, what I call status quo. That's what it is. When you don't get to collaborate outside your building, you don't get to collaborate outside your classroom, you are just trying to survive in a status quo silo when there's a whole bunch of brilliance outside your room, outside your space, on a virtual platform. I mean, I love it. You talk about, South Korea, right? I love it that I've got a former student who lives in Japan now, and just the dialogue and the connections that he and I have, and the things that I'm learning from him while he's there in that space. That's the world is our classroom, right? And I think being able to tap into the world as our classroom is something that we can't let die. And I think kids are going to force us to do that. They're connected all the time. And so I really appreciate everything you guys said. We really keep to time here because we know the baby's gonna wake up, and we don't want to get Denise mad at me. But what I'm going to do is, what we want you to do is, we want you to talk to your peers who are out there grinding every day. We know that this is a very stressful time for teachers, as we've seen that in all of our lives. And we want you to just give some words of encouragement. I'm going to go Alex, Denise, Aaron, and then in with Akia. But what words of encouragement do you give to your peers as they continue to navigate remote learning, but also preparing to go back to in-person learning? Maybe October, maybe January, whenever it happens. What are your words of encouragement, Alex?
Yeah, that's a great question. My words of encouragement are stay connected to your why. I think I feel disconnected to that sometimes, but when I can have a connection point with one student, that can be really, really rejuvenating. So find small ways to stay connected to why you became a teacher. Because that is ultimately, at the end of the day, what's going to sustain you through any kind of challenge. So, yeah.
Cool. Denise?
To every teacher in Colorado, the United States, and especially those on this call, you're doing a great job. Yeah. Seriously. Like, whatever it has looked like so far, whatever it currently looks like in the moment, whatever it might look like tomorrow, you're doing a great job because you're showing up every single day for students. And don't forget to, I want to make sure for myself and for everyone that's listening that we can't get so caught up in wanting to be better every single day that we miss the beauty of the mountains that we're moving right now in the moment. So stop to smell some of the roses while you have them, because this work is challenging and rewarding, but we have to lean into that reward. We're educators, so we're always going to want to be better. I got to fix this. I need to do this better. This isn't working, but let's really focus in on our daily wins so that we can use that energy to keep driving forward for our communities.
Aaron?
I said it earlier this year to my team at Montbello. I said, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Take care of yourself, but I'm going to kind of still a little bit what Alex said is remember your why. Like, remember why you love doing this. Think about every single time when you, like, one of your worst days in person learning, and then all of a sudden the kid said something to you and you're like, oh my God. And it just made you laugh. It made you cry. It just made you fall out of your seat because you're like, oh, I love these kids. So like you go back to that, just think about when you have that moment where you were so frustrated, just think back to that one moment. You're like, I love my job. Always remember that piece. And it's going to happen. It may not go the way you want it. It may not be how you want it right now, but we are where we are for a reason. And we are going to do what we have to do. And we are going to be great for it.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Aaron. The veteran, 16 years.
Oh, I think for me, and Aaron said it, and I'd already written it. Look, I still have my board because I'm in my teacher zone, but it's to take care of yourself. Like, in order for us to do this job and get up every day and realize how different it is for us, I mean, even when we were in person, if we don't take care of ourselves, how are we expected to take care of all of these little ones, right? So take the time out for yourself. Understand the importance of like self-care so that you can be healed and you can be ready to go out and face all of our sweet babies. I think like our kids need us the most right now. They need the structure. They need the security of knowing that you're going to be there for them. And it's super important, like as a whole, like you take care of the whole person.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you guys all for giving me some of your time today. I want to recall that Alex did say he will trade babysitting for business opportunities for his students. So Colorado, United States, global partners, um, you want to have a date night, we got a babysitter for you. He's certified, background checked, all that good stuff. Do you know CPR, Alex?
I do CPR first
There we
aid training. You
go.
fly me to Japan.
There we go.
Fly me to
We'll fly
Japan to
you out there.
babysit your kids.
So he's certified. So look, I appreciate all of you. I love what Denise says. Look, you guys are doing a great job. And anything you need from me, anything you need to continue to make the year a great year for you and your students and your team there, please reach out because we want to help out. Aaron, all that to-do list that you saw, we got to get all that stuff done. And so please reach out. So thank you, Strive Prep, for joining us. Thank you, Denver School of Science and Technology, for joining us. And thank you, Compass Academy, for joining us. Thank you guys for what you do for kids. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. If you need anything, reach out. So thank you again. Have a great evening. So y'all, that was it. That was it with these amazing teachers. These amazing teachers from the schools there, from Compass Academy, from Strive Prep, and from Denver School of Science and Technology. It was great to get their perspective. Great to hear about education from the front lines. All of our teacher friends, like we said, we got other teachers who want to join us. So we do these weekly. Usually they're on Mondays, but because the holiday, we push it to Tuesday. So if you are interested, please just email us at info@faithbridgeco.org. We'd love to get your perspective on what's going on the front lines in education from your perspective. How can we be better? Love the things that they said today as we talk about what should we keep, what should we let go of. I love the fact that they all feel like they are working in organizations where their voices are heard, where they believe that they can speak into the space, and it does cause transformation. So that's refreshing. Good to hear because teachers know. Again, I want to take this personal privilege and shout out my mother and my aunt again. I always shout them out because of their 30 plus years in education. And I also want to shout out Faith Bridge's education team. On our education team, we got 6 amazing educators, 6 amazing master educators who the youngest among them did 20 years in a rural public school serving, and the rest of them are 30, 35, 37 years. And I get to work with them on a weekly basis to look at this landscape of education and figure out what can we do differently? What should we be doing differently? Because what has been being done has not worked, right? It is not achieved. And let me back up. It has worked because we call it design neglect, right? It is done exactly what it's been designed to do, and it has failed Black and brown and poor kids because that's what it's designed to do. And so we believe that a better day is possible. We believe that there's brilliance within the building, within the neighborhood, within the region, within the city, within the state. And we believe that all parts of the ecosystem need to be working together to deliver the education that our children deserve. I loved how Alex said, let's blow the roof off of Colorado, right? Let's blow the roof off of Colorado and not limit ourselves to the business opportunities that are just here in our state, or don't limit them to the businesses that are in our state. But let's expand our horizons by connecting with folks who are beyond our walls and beyond our city limits. And so that is awesome. That's education to me. That's what I believe, that education, the world is our classroom, and we need to continue to innovate, to use technology, to build different relationships, international connections, to where you've got a classroom in Japan that's connecting with a classroom here in Denver, and they're doing that on a regular basis and helping our kids to build relationships that are deep, right, to transform the jangling discords of our time. So we are so excited about what's happening. We are grateful for our teacher friends, our teacher colleagues who are on the front line, and every day they are making it happen with parents. They are making it happen with each other. They're making it happen with students. And we can't say thank you enough. So again, thank you for joining us tonight here on our weekly education circle. And we'll look forward to seeing you here on Monday as we'll do another education circle. Have a great evening. And thank you for being with us. You can learn more about what FaithBridge is doing. You can visit us at www.faithbridgeco.org. That's www www.faithbridgeco.org, and you can learn all of the great things that our education team is doing, that we are doing as an organization to bring about the world where we say 100% of children will graduate from a high quality school, ready for the choice of college without remediation. Visit us, join us. Have a great night. God bless you.